party as usual. But yep.
New phone. Who dis? Couldn't help it. I'm sorry. It is though. It's a new phone. I got a new phone. Yay. My hair is still crazy though. Some things never change. I hope everybody had a lovely Saturday morning. Let's make sure I'm seeing all the chats if there ever are any, which I hope there will be. You guys usually don't disappoint me. I had a couple people at the premiere say they were going to come, so looking forward to seeing you guys. And talking a little bit about that video because it just hit me out of left field. You know, I don't know. I guess not everybody watches that channel, but like, of course, not everybody watches that channel. But like, not everyone has even heard of Wisecrack. Come to find out, like, duh. They've only been around forever, right? And they have been like a liberal comedy channel for, I want to say, at least a decade, right? Like a long time. They've been around for a long time. And it's one of those things I've just always kind of taken them for granted. You know, generally liberal kind of pop psychology fluff stuff. You know, interesting but not too interesting. Background noise, basically. Reliably amusing background noise. This one wasn't even funny though. I was only half paying attention to it for about 2/3 of it the first time I listened to it. Because, but then, you know, some of the stuff he was saying, I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, not cool, my man, not cool. So, hey, missed the video live. Just want to mention a frame where they use an image of a sexual abuse child protective program. SA is often called the South Australia is often called the RAPE capital of Africa. South Africa. Lord, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It's a big wide world out there. South Africa. Yes, ma'am. I apologize. All apologies. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Okay, so South Africa is often called the RAPE capital of Africa. So messed up cheese. Really? Wisecrack did? Oh no. There's a lot of messed up stuff in that one. That's, you know, and it just usually they. I mean, I may be mistaken, and I guess that's what I was getting at. Is are they usually like this, and I just never noticed? You know, obviously not all their videos have to do with kids. And like, frankly, the more I got to thinking about it as I was watching the premiere just now, I wonder if they're not taking advantage of the fact that like a good half of my generation don't have kids. If anyone needs a program to protect children, it's South Africa. Well, I'll take your word for that. It's, you know, it's never a bad idea. I guess that was my point. You know, just the inclination in general is never a bad idea. Hey, you know, maybe we got to make sure the kids are safe first. Instead about oxygen, put the oxygen on the children and then, you know, yourself. No, it's the other way around. A long time since I've been on an airplane, too. Mm. This is an oxygen mask, so. But, yeah, they were essentially arguing for kids' rights. Ah, they need autonomy and agency. Wisecrack book summary. Yeah. Yeah, they've done lots of interesting stuff over the years. And, like, I truly have not even given them a second thought, really, until very recently. Ah. And that one just blew my mind. truly. I could not believe what I was hearing, and it really only caught my attention about 2/3 of the way through. I had only been half paying attention to it. And then I think it was the bit where, like, you basically want to say, yeah, kids' rights afterwards. Like, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. What the fuck? What exactly is this guy saying? You know? Maybe I can listen to it again, and, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was hoping I was imagining things. And then, now I'm wondering, if a lot of their stuff isn't like this. And, we all have biases, and a lot of them are subconscious. So we're gonna, behave and speak, to imply things. We all do that. I just wonder if any one of these professors have ever met a kid, right? Or were one. That's my thing. You don't need to have kids or know any. We all were one for at least a decade once, right? So that just strikes me as strange. I'm going to rearrange this so I can sit down. And put the camera down. But yeah, no, you get the impression they don't know any, which makes it feel really self-serving, right? Because why do they care? Why are they so worried about it? Why are you so worried? And I'm going to look probably more into that Robinson woman, because some of the stuff that she says is very strange. What up, Philological? How you doing? So much stuff. Why is there always so much stuff? I had a pea stuck in my nose for all day when I was 5, and they think I would be able to make any choices, right? My uncle stuck a peanut so far up his nose that it was lodged in there so long it sprouted into his head. Right about that same age. Yeah, it's a notorious family story. My favorite part, though, I think might be, well, I say favorite. I use the term loosely. Because, frankly, having to listen to that bit about what that kid on the bus told him what sex was over and over and over again got to be very old very quickly. Ugh. But, like, he literally tells an anecdote that illustrates that he personally, as a kid, did not understand these things. Meanwhile, trying to argue that kids are smart enough to make their own decisions. Like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, if you push the double think too far, it just becomes contradictory, right? It's a delicate balance. I think that's part of the problem sometimes. I think calling it to think, double or otherwise, is too generous. Well, double speak then. Because I just can't think of a better term for it. Where, it's the thing where they're trying to say it, that their opposition is both pitiful and terrifying at the same time. Or, like, by turns, Not at the same time, because that would be obvious. Oh, pity us, their terrifying legislation is trying to, they want us dead. Confusing children with hobbits. Possible. That's possible. Hobbits deserve their own agency. And political voice, yeah. They would, but pretty sure they don't exist. Sadly. Children, on the other hand, are a very real phenomenon. The thing about being a child is you get over it. I kind of left this out because it's not really a strong point, and the damn thing was almost 40 minutes long as it was, but, like, why are they talking about childhood like it is some kind of a permanent condition, like being a race or a sex? Like, no. It's temporary. Childhood is temporary. You get over it on your own. When she reviewed my earlier PhD chapter drafts, my supervisor would often circle passages and ask, "What precisely do you mean by this?" Some of the best education I ever got. Right, where they force you to actually explain yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of these super Libby types have never had anyone ask them that of the things they say, right? Right. Again, again, the more I watch it, and this might be me projecting, but the more I watch it, the more he's like, I get like the guy. He seems like he's reading a script that he maybe isn't super stoked about reading. You know, because I did not mean. I don't even remember that guy's name. He says it at the beginning. I swear, he says it a lot in the videos. He's in a lot of them. But like, I like a lot of his videos. Some of them are clearly his own idea. You know, but this one I really don't think was. He might not really understand a lot of the concept. Right, right. No, and I think that's, you know, like we all know who Simon Whistler is, I presume. He has 8,000 channels on the YouTube. Like yeah. Just says them because they sound smart, or because they're in the script. You know. As the talking head, you don't always get to choose what you say. When you work with a team, right? What is that? Always looks crooked. There, that's better. What was this? Yeah, some of them are clearly his own idea. I don't think this one was. Maybe he doesn't understand it. Oh yeah, Simon Whistler will literally tell you, "Hey, I think I read this in a video on this other channel like a while back. I don't remember any of it because it went, in my mouth and, just straight, straight back out. But yeah, I think I remember that. Like, they just, some of them, you just read the script. You know, you enunciate the words, and then you go home. It's not always. It really is sometimes apparently just like being a television presenter, basically. Not mine. And like, oh, I discovered a new fun archaeology channel, Mini Minute Man. Huh. That's my newest subscription. He's fun, but like, he mentions having an editor sometimes. Yeah, I don't have an editor. I don't have one of those. I don't have one of those. All that stuff I do. I do all that myself. So, yeah. If you ever like, oh, that editing is insert opinion here. That was me. Yep. I choose the topics. I make the set. I break the script. I just make notes, really. Yeah. He's fun. But he mentions having an editor every now and then. And, like, recently got a second camera and, like, went full hog. He has a lot more subscribers than I do, to be fair. And I think his stuff is probably more interesting. He's definitely more knowledgeable just in, about his topic than... I mean, I don't know if he's more knowledgeable on his topic than I am on mine, but he can prove it. Or he's got the papers, the credentials to prove it. Right? Yeah, I've been watching a lot of those. He made Graham Hancock look like an ass to me. Oh, that was pretty good. Which, I did not realize he was the one who wrote that book. I find those fringe archaeology types really interesting. Why? Like the people themselves? Why? Like, I can only dip my toe in the edge of that pond, honestly. I've known too many people who believe too much of this shit. It's the same reason I don't think Arrested Development was funny. Like, too close to home. Oh boy. It's kind of sad to me as a historian. Because like a lot of the people who believe in Atlantis or whatever might have been keen historians if given the proper direction. Right. Right. And I really don't. That's a big part of it. I don't like to contribute to their ecosystem. You know what I mean? And some of the conspiratorial ones actually have some skills that are quite useful in history, believe it or not. Yeah, right? If you identify as a two-spirit being, could you hire your other self as your editor and get a tax break? Maybe, but I would still have to do it. I'd still have only one pair of hands. You know, that's the real problem at the end of the day. They say two heads are better than one, not two minds. There's a difference, right? Oh, my arm is falling asleep. I've got to move. So, you know, tax break would be nice, but you know what else would be nice? Just a break. Just a break. That'd be great. But I think that's how we all feel right now, right? Everybody could use a break. Excuse me. There we go. Oh. Now I can actually have my hands back. Yay. I'm taking this weekend off work after a month of moving around and it feels so chill. Everyone needs a break sometimes, right? I haven't had a real one in so long. Like a ridiculously long amount of time. That two-head study was only done with white males as the subject, so I'm doubtful of its findings. Well, you know, I'm not saying two minds wouldn't be better, but I'd still only have one set of hands to do the editing, you know. So I'd still have to do the editing. Even if it was my other self. Or whatever. I don't know. Oh boy, you guys are funny. Thanks for coming. Oh, but speaking of some of the stuff I was doing, last week I presented my research at the first ever Trans Historical Conference, and it was actually really well received. Well, congratulations! Even though I have a very different approach to trans history. How so? Do you not believe what's his face Jackson threw the first champagne glass at the Stonewall or whatever? Marsha Johnson. I'm not a totally ignorant rube, I swear. Basically, most of the conference speakers wanted to dispel the notion that trans identities are modern, whereas I think they are. I think medieval people no more had trans people than they had human rights. That's a really good way to put it. I don't think they would have been able to really comprehend either idea. Stop bouncing on the couch! Owen? Sit down. Thank you. But, you know, it's not about them being bigoted, goodness knows. I love Chevalier d'Eon. I wrote a blog post about him. He was this 18th century Frenchman who lived as a woman in England for like 10 or 20 years, like a long time, as a woman, which he wore women's clothes and like would sort of put on performances in this character. I mean, they had cross-dressers, and I think some people were probably dysphoric about the sex character. Right. I think a lot of people are, and always have been, and I think that it's a very common symptom during puberty, when you're first developing all that stuff, right? They didn't know about trans people like we think of them today. No. No. You know, although I don't think the idea that you could change your sex would have been completely outside the realm of possibility to the medieval mind. considering some of the magical thinking that they engaged in back then, right? So, you know, who knows? They did not have the technology to pursue the idea surgically. So, unless God was going to step in and do it, you know, you were stuck. Back in that day, back in those days. There's like one or two things in literature where they contemplate the possibility of sex change, yeah. Right. Contemplating the possibility in theory, you know, hypothetically, I mean, I have a lot of sympathy for that idea. There's a couple of saints, like Tekla, how do you pronounce that? Who have miraculous mastectomies? Did they have cancer? Is my question. Were they ill? Did they need the mastectomy? You know? How sometimes those are necessary medically. So, where their breasts literally fall off as a miraculous display. Let me guess. Oh yeah, I don't have to guess. Saints, Catholics. And I say this with all love in my heart. Catholics are weird. Catholic lore is very weird. You know, these are the people who collect severed fingers and shit like that and tuck them away in the back of their church as a treasured artifact. It's like, you know that is part of a corpse. Oh, right. What up, Mecca? How you doing? I'm sorry, are you Catholic? Less than an hour in for once. Yeah. How you doing? You staying cool today, honey? Girlfriend? I was kind of trying to say both. And it just came out all garbled. I'm tripping over my tongue a lot lately. I think it's this heat. I blame the heat. Chilling out in the house and just hit your video about kids and politics. What'd you think of that, huh? Coming upon that was a surprise for me, let me tell you. I wish I had brought more than one cushion over here. I might have to go get one. Love the conflation of college students that worked with Dr. King and people's little elementary kids given scripts to repeat, right? That bait and switch is just it's just fun, isn't it? It literally goes from like a long ass shot of a toddler talking about Greta Thunberg, like the Freedom Riders were old enough to drive, out of state even. Yeah, right. And like I can't imagine why young adults would be the ones to get involved in this kind of stuff. It's not as if they have all the mobility and free time. And, you know, this is one of the details I cut out because the damn thing was almost 40 minutes long as it was. But like, I read about this in a book about the hippies years ago. You know, that's what they said about them in the 60s. You know, those kids that they were talking about. The civil rights and stuff. And to be a cynic, and we would say, the Greta thing is at least partially bullshit. Not that I don't think she feels what she feels, but the reason to put her on a stage is more... Oh, yeah. Greta's no climate scientist, so the only reason to have her speak at a political conference is the emotional pull of seeing someone as young-looking as her making those points. You're right. Right. And then I found that amazing clip of her basically telling them to go fuck themselves. And I just, I decided to let her rebut them herself. I just thought that was so much more effective than anything I could have said. And the other one, I'm like, I know I've seen them clips of them saying this stuff. Like, these kids disagree with you, wisecrack. They don't want to do these things. They're not an inspiration. They don't want to be. That's not the story that they tell. So, yeah, it's pretty blatantly just using them. Which is exactly what they're accusing conservatives of doing in the video. While doing it themselves. Fun stuff. Doesn't sit well with me, seeing any kid put on a national stage to political activists. Young adults are at least adults. Right, yeah. And, like, if you show up yourself, you and your friends mobilize yourselves to go to a march or whatever, great. Get involved. But, like, that's not you, putting yourself on the center stage, Like, did you see that one where the kids supposedly rebelled against Pride Month by saying their pronouns are USA? Come on. Sure, bro. And then everyone... Oh. Sometimes when the kids are used as political mouthpieces, it's so obviously staged. Yeah. I think it's all staged. There are protests the media doesn't cover all the time, and all attendees to political events aren't put on the real wise. Right. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And, it's... You make a really good point. Because I've been fascinated by that for years. How sometimes I know for a fact that there have been a couple different times, but I've known for a fact that there were massive protests going on here or there for whatever this or that reason. And to watch the news, any news, anywhere, you never know it. So why do they cover the ones that they do? What up, Les? How you doing, girl? Welcome to the party. Ooh, actually, I've got to get up and go and get another cushion. This thing's hurting my back. It's okay, you come with me. The largest prison labor strike in U.S. history wasn't covered on any media outlet. Nice. When was that? I've been pulling weeds, spreading out that mulch and stuff. There's the pile of weeds on the pile of junk. Beyond that's the strawberry patch. Okay, well, I believe that a kid might have done the My Pronouns Are USA thing because it's a meme on conservative media. That isn't the reason they put it on the news. Right. That prison labor strike was a few years ago. Okay, yeah, I figured fairly recently probably, but who knows? Oh, the news used to actually, like, try to cover stuff, apparently. Like, Walter Cronkite was, like, he attempted to be neutral. And apparently the one time he failed, it, like, fucked up the war in Vietnam. So, hooray. Kids having political opinions and kids being made international political media figures are two totally other things. Yes. Yes. Agreed. Oh my goodness, they just used those kids terribly in that video. All of them, and a lot of them are just pictures of, like, adorable little children. And the more times I watched that video, the more it struck me. I'm like, every single one of these images is little kids. Like 12 and under, conveniently. Most kids these days have some kind of political opinions. It's regular conversation both on social media now, and also on media directed towards them. Right? Yeah. God forbid kids should actually be, like, involved or educated on. That's not what I'm objecting to at all. Like, that brings me back to how they specifically go straight to defending trans women in girls' bathrooms. Like when watching the Roswell remake, in the first episode, a character threatened to call the ACLU when pulled over by the cops and produced proof of citizenship in the pilot. I saw that and was like, well, damn. Shows directed to teens are different now. Yes, they are. In good ways and bad ways, right? Oi. Some of the messages in that stuff are weird. But it's been a while since I've seen any of it, so. Our oldest one, she doesn't live with us anymore. She's supposed to be 21, so, she's off doing her own thing. But when she did live with us, she loved the Disney Channel and all that stuff. I don't know if Greta was sincere at first or what, but it's definitely a political project now. Right. I figure she probably was sincere at first. And then she probably very quickly got, put under the reins of somebody who thought that that was just really a nifty idea. Definitely a thing now that they have this kind of language and theming and stuff that used to be just junk for kids. So of course teens talk politics if you give them a mic, right? I mean, I guess what I was being naive again. I was assuming that like anyone would actually be doing, it in earnest effort to like educate them and get them involved in the real conversation. But it's probably just propaganda, isn't it? I don't know. My mom used to say that about Captain Planet and stuff like that. Because when I was a kid, I'm not sure, I don't think everyone is exactly the same age as me, late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of environmental messaging and stuff. Like tons. Like Fern Gully, hello. We loved that movie. I kind of still do, honestly. Tim Curry slays as the smog demon thing. But like the thing about that is uh, the environmental crisis is a real thing. So, you know, I'm somehow not so mad about being essentially brainwashed to care about that. Uh, I don't know. Like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like an earnest effort to actually educate and engage kids in something important. You could almost argue that's what that was. And trans rights is not the same. Not the same scale, not the same level of, reality. Because, I guess if everybody's actually worried about the climate crisis, then we might have to change the economy off of oil, which would cost a lot of really powerful people a lot of money. Or so I have been told. I hear tell, right? What I don't understand is, like, they've been hearing all this stuff about them diversifying and whatever, getting ready to make the switch, and then it's like, it just never fucking comes, and I don't know why. Why do I still have to put gasoline in my car? And more to the point, why does that car essentially nullify all the gains in personal safety and health that we made in the last 100 years. Like, my life isn't any safer than it would have been before the invention of penicillin. Because I had to drive everywhere. Not real sure what the solution to that might be, or what exactly that says, other than, like, change is not necessarily progress. But some change would be nice. Yeah. I don't understand why we still use the same technology that people were driving around in 100 years ago. That seems weird to me. Except now they're made of plastic. Which almost seems like they managed to funnel those, a lot of those Rust Belt profits back into the oil industry. Just, you know. Who needs steel when you have fiberglass? Right? Essentially plastic. A few years ago, we bought a new Jeep. And that summer, I let the kids sit on the roof of it to watch the fireworks. That bitch has never been the same since. And I just thought I had to say to myself, wait, what do I think this is? 1960? What the hell's wrong with me? I know better than that. I don't understand. Am I missing some, like, chat? Because everybody got awful quiet. Yes. I'm sorry. It was not giving me the chat. I don't know why. I love Ferngully and Captain Planet as a kid as well. I think it's much less insidious to get kids against pollution. Right? Right? Like, pollution bad. Poisoning the environment is just bad. Like, I grew up and I looked back at it. I'm like, yeah, nah. I'm still pretty sure that's bad. Watching kids literally cry about the fact that they'll drown and not see adulthood has me thinking that there's irresponsibility afoot. And what they say to, yeah. Oh no, not the powerful people's money, right? Mm-hmm. The switch never comes because no alternative energy is efficient enough to sustain itself. Alternatives would be enough in combo with nuclear, and they generally have to be produced with coal and toxic chemicals. People are crazy for not being gung-ho about nuclear. Oh, but the fancy men tell you that life is better, so it must be, right? Right. How many Chernobyls and Fukushimas will we have if we massively proliferated that? And what will we do with radioactive waste? Yeah, see, the waste thing. There's gotta be a better way to make energy for our civilization than creating toxic waste that'll be around basically forever. There's gotta be a better solution than that. That's basically what we're doing now. I'm not saying the climate crisis is not a real crisis, but the solutions we have so far are not all they're put up to be. No, yeah. Clearly. Because the thing about an idea that works, if it really just works, people tend to adopt it, whether if, powers that be will them to or not. Oil production also produces tons of toxic waste. Yes, true. The better solution than that is what we're doing now. We're already doing that thing, which is enough energy for basically all and no nuclear waste. Air pollution, for instance, contributes to thousands of deaths. Yeah, right. And it makes me think of how there's a giant ball of, radiation that beams its energy down on us every day. Or the fact that we live on top of a giant geothermal reaction that is constantly, in flux with its, like there's so much energy just naturally everywhere. There's got to be a way to harness that shit without poisoning ourselves. Are solar cells toxic? I bet they are. The way to get rid of toxicity from producing energy is to deindustrialize, which would entail mass death, because we can't sustain our population or close to it in such a way. We'd very literally starve to death in these numbers by millions if factory farming went. I wasn't suggesting that necessarily. No, as far as factory farming, again, like being humane is just not their priority. Which just brings me back to capitalism. Boo. Because profit is their priority. Feeding everyone is definitely not their priority. The amount of food that gets wasted, just in the United States, it's mind-boggling. But they sold it, so they don't care. They made their money. I know you weren't suggesting that. I'm just saying that people act like factory farming and modern energy production can just go. And right, yeah. Being against factory farming doesn't mean we want to see it all go poof one day. Right, yeah, exactly. And, you know, this is going to probably be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think everybody needs to be vegan either. I don't think that's probably a good idea. I would survive because I'm an alpha male, obviously. Well, I mean, obviously. That goes without saying. Or it would have if you were really an alpha male. I'm sorry, I had to. Be a behavior to say it out loud. Ah, that stuff is also funny. Like half of the food is wasted in Western countries. Right. Because their motive is profit, not feeding people. Veganism is comically unsustainable. Thank you. Thank you. To get barely adequate nutrition, you need a sufficient variety of food that requires trucking mass-produced foods across it. Right. Right. Not to mention how processed a lot of that stuff is. So, you know, vegetarianism is good. I did that for a long time. I volunteered at a food bank, and I'm aware how many people would die in a week if they couldn't use the food available, right? You can keep a whole damn family alive with a couple goats. I dare you to do that with a vegan garden. Yeah. Well, you know, efficiency and self-sufficiency is not actually anything that any of us, most of us, would know anything about, right? I know, I still stop at the grocery store. Okay, so I have to say something here. Go for it. Veganism is not what you're saying. It's actually heartbreaking how large the demand for food banks are now, immoral in a developed country, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah. But, you know. Yeah, it makes me think about the kids' rights thing. They were arguing essentially for their right to vote. Should they have a right to eat? I'm talking flat out possibility. Like it's physically possible to keep a family alive with a few goats. Possible to keep them alive with some chickens. Not with a small garden. It's nice to have, but yeah. True. You can't have a solution that should be for everyone if your solution doesn't scale. Yeah. I I'm not great at coming up with big scale solutions for this kind of stuff. I admit that. I'm not a farmer. I'm not an economist. Uh, you know, really more uh you know, I hate to say negative, but, you know, I do tend to more point out mistakes. Uh, I mean, there's an obvious solution to this week's video, wherein, like, kids don't necessarily need political agency. They don't. They need parents. Vegans talk a great talk about how as an individual they don't contribute to this, that, and the other, and the third, but their lifestyles don't scale without as much harm as animal farming, at least. Alright, well, you would not be the first person to observe that a lot of people do that kind of stuff for virtue signaling reasons. Not everyone. I'm not gonna say everyone. But it's one of those things that's been trendy for a while. I mean, honestly, after Bill Clinton did it, I thought it was over. I'm like, surely the trend is gonna die now. If Bill Clinton is a vegan, it can't be cool, right? But I guess I was wrong. Sad. My solution is tablet from form nutrients, like in the movie Demolition Man, sorted, thank me later. You know, that actually doesn't work. Funny thing, they've discovered now that you actually have to get your nutrients in, like, nutrient form, or you still end up vitamin deficient. You have to actually eat food to absorb everything properly. Now a former friend of mine interrupted me eating curried spinach and cheese to talk about the evils of dairy farming. I threatened to order a whole rack of ribs. I find it interesting how vegans can be so hated upon, and yet our uncle who eats meats for every meal never gets mentioned. Was vegan for a decade, and the hate was insane. See, I don't support that either. I have a pathetic story from the time that I tried to go vegan. And I know it did not work for me. And the idea that everyone should give up meat is, I don't think, practical or good for everyone. I think that, and I've said this before, I think the ideal diet for everyone is maybe just a little bit different. I mean, I can't get all my vitamins and minerals just from eating this convenient Soylent Green food alternative. Nope, sorry, apparently not. Food is a cultural thing. You can't replace it with a tablet. That too, human beings use it for a lot more than just sustenance, don't we? The hate for vegans is a result of how rude and self-righteous so many evangelical vegans are. That's at least partially true. I was vegan for almost 5 years and had to quit over serious health issues. Holy anemia, Batman. Oh my god, yes. I can confirm your suspicions. I'll replace everything with a tablet. You can see it in the chat right now. There's a stereotype and most lean on it. Yeah. Yeah, there is. I was actually trying to go the other way with it. I shouldn't have mentioned vegans. That was a mistake. Like, specifically. I shouldn't have mentioned them by name. Should have known that that would send us off in the other direction. Sorry. No, because I just meant that, and I don't eat meat with every meal. I don't want anywhere near that much. But at least one good, decently sized portion every other day or so. Or I start to feel shitty. And foggy headed and protein. When I take vitamin tablets, they make me throw up too. Wait, what? And personally, I can't process synthetic iron well at all. I got seriously sick trying to do iron tablets. It's fine eating red meat at least a few times a month. You're right. It doesn't take much. That's the thing people don't understand, is it doesn't take a whole lot. I don't hate vegans, and saying veganism isn't sustainable isn't vegan hate. We're discussing environmental shit, and veganism is often proposed as a solution to factory farming environmental issues. Which, with how processed that stuff is, I don't know this, but that seems counterintuitive to me. I'm not sure that's the solution to that. One kind of factory traded for another. Right? And if that is the diet that works for someone and makes them healthy, great. It didn't for me. And I don't think any one diet works for everyone. Which is what I was getting at. You have to actually listen to your body and stuff. Whatever the best diet is for you is probably going to change as you age. Just like everything else. Oh. Oh, gosh. Veganism was one thing, and then it got hijacked. It never used to be full of factory creations until it was. Such a shame to see. That's plausible. We were just talking about something else like that. Oh yeah, Greta Thunberg. If the issue it's solving for you is making you an individual, as an individual, healthier, then that's a different point, right? That to me would be the reason to change your diet for nutrition's sake, and everything else would just be pretense, right? Is the camera on this new phone any better? Or the sound? I did it because some asshole on YouTube said it was helpful for heavy periods, and I had issues with extreme heavy bleeding. So in desperation, I tried it and almost died. Isn't that fun? That's the kind of thing that makes you just not want to try stuff. Why are we forgetting breatharians? They have reached cheat code in life. To be honest, when I was vegan, it was dudes who hijacked the movement, made it all angry and angsty. It wasn't like that before. Wow. Another familiar story. It just happens over and over again. Over and over again, doesn't it? What's up?
Is this a live video?
Mm-hmm. Ow.
Can you get me something to eat, please?
I gave you 2 things to eat already.
I'm still hungry.
Did you finish the stuff I gave you?
Mm-mm.
We'll go do that.
Mm-mm.
Why not?
Because they're not healthy.
Granola is very healthy.
What?
Yeah.
How?
It is. It's got a lot of fiber in it. Your cold little hands are making me realize just how hot it is out here. Ugh. Breeze is nice.
I'm sorry for making your video extra long. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But I'm making your live stream shorter.
No.
Longer.
Listen.
Do you want that?
Listen, you. Oh, honey.
What?
That hurts my hip. Can you get up for a second? Let me get up. I do not want to go into that kitchen right now.
What in the world?
That's a dime.
A dime?
Mm-hmm.
Are dimes usually this small?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'll be right back.
Thanks. Are you still hungry?
Yeah.
Okay. I really don't want to go in that kitchen. Not just because of this, like, oh, long story short, it is a mess in there today. So, like, we're not going in there. We're not doing that. And it's a problem because the big one is at his friends today. Talking about there's a difference between 5 and 15. That one went and got himself a social life. The bum. And actually, little man just turned 6 the other day. But yeah, I'm not taking y'all in that kitchen. Not today. Not doing it. We're not doing that. So, he's a very picky eater. I'm not sure what to do. Because if I go in there, I'm not taking y'all with me. Not today. What a mess. Guess what I get to do after I get off of here. So, is it like not giving me the chat again? I think maybe. Nope. Well, maybe I can find him something that I don't have to cook. Might have some snack bars in there or something. Ugh. Oh, and honey.
Yeah?
You want a fruit bar?
Yes.
Yeah, what?
Yes, please. Also, do you know what this song is?
I have heard it before. I'm hungry and also being lazy. Might be about to eat a Rice Krispie treat.
Did I have one?
Are those vegan? No, sorry, we don't have those. That was somebody in the chat saying that. Okay. Is apple? Oh wait, here we go. Blueberry. We got the blueberry. Like, it's also shopping day, y'all. We don't even have hot dogs. It's sad. Remember, Rad, that little kid has more agency than we realize. Tell him it's time to start earning his own money and provide for his own wants. Grow up, kid, because they will be trying to give you the vote. That's so. Imagine that. You know, like that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the idea. Not teenagers, 8-year-olds, all of them, all the way down. That'd be wild shit. You know, they would probably outvote us because technology and whatever. People always want kids voting and learning to use Grindr and never want them getting liquor licenses and opening bars. I feel like some of them would, though. Okay. Yeah. Here you go. There's another one if you want.
4.
No, we'll start with 2. Kids wouldn't outvote us. 1834 voting block is notoriously flaky. True. They are actual adults, though. Like, I don't know if I'd want to go up against the obsessive nature of your average 13-year-old. It's the olds that vote reliably. Teenagers wouldn't vote with any regularity at all. 18 and 19-year-olds already don't. Right, yeah. But there's, you know, that tween age gets very fixated. And lately they've like kind of learned. I mean, it almost seemed like when mine were that age, it's like they moved as a flock. It was very interesting. Hey, baby. How you doing? Huh?
We both said, hey, baby, at the same time. I said,
Oh.
Jinx.
No.
Are you doing the live stream today?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Are you doing it right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you kisses and lips. Love you, wife.
Love you.
What's up, little bro?
Nothing.
You having
They might
fun?
talk about it, but forget by election time. Yeah. True. But so, I don't know if I'm going to be giving y'all the full 2 hours today, unfortunately, because as I say, little man is kind of in here by himself, and I have a kitchen to clean and laundry. Oh my, like, I don't even want to think about all the shit I have to do this afternoon. I don't even want to think about it right now. Because I'm forgetting my coffee, and that's just sad. That's tragic. We can't have that. See? I'm distracting myself, is what it is. I'm bad for that. Alright. Despite the fact it's 90 degrees, maybe we'll try and pick some strawberries. I must have my coffee. Exactly. Actually, where's the lid to this damn thing? I really don't. No, no, no. No, it's fine. Oh. And back outdoors we go. In Australia, you have to vote. It's illegal not to. So the voting age was lowered. So if the voting age was lowered, well, the kids will be voting. That's terrifying. It's illegal not to vote, huh? Well, that's an interesting system. In the U.S., nobody has to vote, and if they suddenly tried to make it so, people would literally riot. Americans are hilarious. No, yeah, we are. We are. Truly, truly, truly. Maybe I'd feel better if I took my medication. Here's a crazy thought. Hi. Whew. It's hot but overcast. Oh, it's a good thing there's not direct sun out here. Well, I'd have to be in the house. Batman would be polling at 5% if we lower the age of voting. Yeah. Only 5%, huh? You don't think it'd be higher? I think it might be higher than that. I mean, unless Spider-Man is on the ballot, and then all bets are off. Like, that's one of those things, you know how, like, sometimes things just take the fuck off, and you did not see that shit coming? Like my hair. What the fuck is with the Spider-Verse? Like, I don't really want to know what that is. I don't really want to know. Which is why I don't. You know. But it's one of those things. And, like, Fortnite was another one where, like, all of a sudden it was everywhere. And the kids were all obsessed with it. And it's like, wow, I didn't care about that the first time I heard about it, and I still don't. Which means we have a problem. 5%. He's the heir to Wayne Tech. He'd be pulling at like 30, right? Yeah, why is Spider-Man the fave? So many questions, right? I didn't even consider the hilarious likelihood if kids did vote, they'd vote for fictional people, memes, or each other or YouTubers. Oh my god, I remember the Fortnite craze. Yes! See, and the thing about kids is, before a certain age, again, cognitively, you have serious difficulty discerning reality from fiction. Little kids don't really understand that Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman, all those people do not exist in the same way that the people they know exist. They don't really get that. Used to work as a nanny, and literally all the kid wanted to do was Fortnite. Right? Oh my god. And having never played it, you know, what really hit me was when I realized I was encountering shit from it in other totally unrelated places. You know, people would just throw out Fortnite references like everyone was gonna get it, and it was always relevant. That was weird. Honestly, I blame it all on marketing. Kids are gonna have obsessions and crazes, but it's adults who make it toxic. Oh yeah. For the most part, yeah. Some adults don't get that. I've heard of Wiccans and Chaos Magicians whose patron deities, oh my god, is Superman. Yes. Oh my god. Yes, would you call that a pantheonist? Like, that sounds redundant, but like, you know, one of those people who works with, you know, like Loki and Hecate and fucking some obscure saint and yeah, like fucking Superman or somebody. And then, you know, they have that all laid out on the altar and you're like, it's quite the motley crew you got going on there. At least one of them is fictional. You didn't know that. But my favorite is the explanation for how they're all like, wait, what do they call that? Like, basically, if it exists in the human mind, then, like, they are sort of conjured into existence. You know, they're like mental constructs, but on the spiritual plane. Right? Like in the collective unconscious, like if you believe in the collective unconscious as like a spiritual thing, as opposed to like the organic neural structure that we all fucking share. Hello. But that's a topic for another for another time. Some kids are fucking boring. After being introduced to logic puzzles and proofs, I was obsessed with that for years. That's true. That's true. I was a history nerd. Yeah. At 13, I was obsessed with the Romanovs. So. I mean, duh. Superman's real on the astral plane. Like, my poor geometry teacher had little choice but to offer extra credit when I started writing proofs rather than just showing my work. If you asked me to pray to an imaginary deity like any of the DC gods would win, like, I mean, and now that's the question. Like, when I was younger, it would have been Loki, like the Norse god, like without question, pretty much, not the comic character, the DC guy. Now, you have to wonder. Like, I mean, and yeah, they are, and that's the thing, is that in a lot of ways it is the same principle. But, yeah, it's, you know, it really just feels like people justifying their obvious failure to separate fiction and reality, really. Truly. You know, I mean, there's mythology which exists in reality and has affected history. The stories aren't necessarily true, but, you know, they're more real in that way than a lot of this newer stuff. I mean, I think believing in Superman could be attributed to more good than believing in the gods of the Stone Age. Who's killed anyone enacting Superman's ideals? I'm gonna have to be a nerd here and say you mean besides Superman, right? But he's fictional. I mean nobody, you know. And I've met people who try to follow the teachings of Jesus who believe that he was a fictional character, and they don't care. I mean, you know, and that's I guess what I'm saying. When it comes to ideals, you know, where exactly is the line between, you know, reality? Well, I guess I could argue that a belief in Superman can come with a patriarchal attitude, which could lead to violence and damage. I mean, yeah. The thing about Clark Kent that makes him so boring is, and they always try to fix this in every story I've ever seen, every movie, every comic I've ever seen, they always try to give him a flaw, angst, something to worry about, essentially. Because he's got nothing to fucking worry about. He's a superpowered alien from another planet, but his planet was destroyed, so it's not like they're going to come after him. He's got nothing to worry about there. He can focus on what's in front of him, which is a planet full of people who are nowhere near as powerful as he is. So he's got nothing to worry about there. He was raised by a perfect nuclear family in a perfect small, you know, Midwestern town. Like, they gave him the perfect, classic, stereotypical American backstory, right? He never had to worry about being hungry. He got to, like, play football or whatever, and is a creep in all versions. Well, I mean, yeah. Clark Kent respects women, and his wife is a reporter who outranks him, which he never discourages. Like, okay, I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm saying he's a shallow character. Because he's a good person. He's too good a person. Like, all strong characters have a decent flaw or two, and he just doesn't. Because he was written to be a superpowered strong man. That's what they created him for. There's nothing wrong with that. But then they try and make him the star of a feature film. You know, and he can't carry that because he has no angst. He's got no conflict of his own. Internal conflict. He has none. I think the logic of Superman's creation is that the reason he's not a bad person is that upbringing. He's a symbol of hope, and symbols are symbols. Right, yeah, no, I'm not saying he is a bad character. He is a shallow character. He is not the kind of guy who should be the protagonist of a serious film. He just isn't. They try to make him like Batman, and he just, you know, his Batman got all the flaws, right? Batman got all the angst. Because if you think about it, his backstory is pretty much the antithesis of Superman's. The inverse. Superman was never supposed to be deep. He was basic, and yeah, designed to be so. He was also made for little boys and men to see themselves as him while reading it. Okay. So, you know, those projection type characters are always kind of bland. Yeah. From an objective standpoint, I feel you. But irrationally, I just really like him, so I don't find his media boring. You know, I think a lot of people feel the same. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just over this. I've been over the superhero thing since the 90s, though. So, I just can't believe, like, why? Why so many? What the fuck? What? Okay. You can see him how you want to see him. Well, the creators have clearly stated that he was created to be a symbol of hope. What something is created for and what you get out of it aren't the same. Like, yeah. I mean, also, he, for me, has strong associations with my dad, who fills me with the opposite of hope. So, that doesn't help his case at all. But, really, whether you like him or not, he is a fictional character, which is what we were talking about. And kids do not understand that distinction. Before a certain age, they are not cognitively capable of really understanding that distinction. So, yeah, we might end up with some write-in ballots for him. What if they actually manage to elect him? What then? What if we give kids the vote And they actually managed to elect someone fictional. What then? Here's a fun thought experiment. Which is why you can get them to believe science fiction, like that men can give birth with technology, right? And this one was just such a blatant example of them literally doing exactly what they're accusing people of doing while they were doing the accusing. Like I said, I had to go back immediately and just listen to it again from the beginning and pay closer attention because I almost couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm like, I have got to be imagining things. This is mad. Kids voting in someone fictional will still be better than the YouTube star they probably voted. Yeah. Yeah. You know, watch them really quickly pass some kind of law about write-in ballots. And you know what? I mean, really, running for president ought to be optional. Right? Ought to be opt-in, right? You shouldn't be able to run for president without knowing it. I think it depends on the municipality. In some of the runner-up, if in some the runner-up goes up. In some places they do runoffs. Kids voting in someone fictional, right? Yeah. Can I do the floss? It would make your day. Like, nah, I don't dance on camera. Come on, this is a serious channel. What do you take me for? People make money from doing shit like that. Come on. Oh, my web developer wants me to plug my Patreon. It exists, but I have not touched it in like 2 years, so I do not remember what is over there. I want to say I have like super thanks options on here now, cause we've added a few subscribers lately. It's pretty cool. Our little community is starting to grow a bit. Huh. Which is just the coolest dang thing. And you know, I don't know if I thank you guys enough because there is no way I would have been sitting here for over an hour talking to myself. There's no way. This is so much fun. Thank you. The Ben Carollo video helped a lot. Oh, I love it when I can hit a hot topic like that, but you can't do that every week. I can dance if I want to. I can leave my cares behind. If friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're not friends of mine. Yeah, on camera, though. Thank you. That was a rather big thud. Everything okay?
No.
What's the matter?
I'm trying to find
Right, me too.
stuff to connect with it.
Oh.
Connector, connector.
Right. Well, I look in the drawers there.
I looked in the drawers.
Well, then I'll go look in your room. In the boxes in your room.
For the first time, I'm scared. Mother, I can't protect you anymore.
What does that mean? That you're gonna help me?
Right, well, yeah. So many of my videos you're behind on. Well, hey, they're there for you to peruse at your leisure. Apparently that's one of the big things about YouTube is, you know, you can have something up for months and have it go viral like ages after you posted it. So that's fun. You just never know. Which, you know, on the one hand is nice, but on the other hand it's like the carrot just being constantly out of reach. Oh my god, and the short views. Oh, I gotta start making shorts. Apologies in advance for that bullshit. I, for the record, hate them. I hate them. Like, there's just no real, you know, I don't know, it's just not what I come to YouTube for. Is bite-sized fucking 15, 30-second, I don't know. And just I feel like you never get any traction. I don't know. They mess with my head and I don't like them. But we're gonna have to do them anyway. If I ever hope to monetize this thing. One of the things he said on Twitter was that she loves to bring up how transphobia apparently derives from white supremacy. Oh, yeah. Carollo does. I wouldn't be shocked. Thinks diabetes comes from racism. But I don't think he's diabetic, so he'll never mention that one. Transphobia. Right, yeah. No, I've seen that argument that it's all about protecting delicate white womanhood, you know, from the scary masculine woman. It's like, no. So much no. So much no. And really, just the whole thing changes if you know, like he was saying about a Chank literally can't separate cis women and trans women. It's like if you manage to do that, then yeah, it changes the whole situation. But that it's erroneous, right? Because they're not separate. Not really. They sure wish they were, though. To be really uncharitable for a second, sometimes I think these leftist types claim that everything, even Pat Bovia laughed my ass off, yeah, comes from racism because they're too smooth-brained to think of two bad things. Is white. Two bad things existing simultaneously, right? Well, I mean, you know, everyone suffered under colonialism, so if you can link it to that, then you can make yourself the victim of it. A lot of the time, I've seen it done. Just like that, bada bing, bada boom, you know? You go from being a privileged person to being a historically marginalized person. They're trying to take the fact people care about racism and apply it to issues people don't care about yet. Yeah, that too. Well, you know, feminism has had to take all comers lately, so welcome to the club, I guess. They care about racism, don't care about your feelings bad for being, you be feeling bad for being fat. Maybe they'll care about you being fat if you say it's racist. Yeah. Yeah. Which just makes you look like a racist, because what? Are dark-skinned women fat? I don't understand. Like, just maybe people would care about cross-dresser rights if you say it's racist not to. Just like they latched on to the gay rights movement, right? You know, if you feel bad about being fat, that's internalized transphobia. It's internalized something. It's internalized something. Oh. Maybe we could do this. No, you joke, but some of them do actually argue that black bodies are supposed to be obese. No, I know. I know. And white women are supposed to be skinny and have no butt. I know. I know. The fact that I have one has confused people out over the years. That I am clearly a white lady with, you know, junk in the trunk. I've actually had people directly question me about this fact. So, yeah. I think there's a hard limit how good you can feel about something that actually hurts. I feel like when people feel bad about being fat, it's them physically feeling bad about limited mobility. Right. That shit gets depressing after a while. Laughing at the booty thing, I assume. But yeah, no, really, yeah, not. And I'm loose jointed naturally. I'm not quite put together tightly enough. So, being over a certain weight puts me in a lot of pain. Actually, like my feet, my knees, my hips, my back, all of it. Just a strong motivation to lose weight. White women are supposed to be skinny. Bahaha. What about the German barmaid stereotype? Dang, people are dumb. You right? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say waspy white women. Because they're the only real white women. All the others are just imitating? I don't know. Which, you know, I'm sorry. I don't look like that. Because I'm not. I'm Celtic and German. Pretty much. The body positivity types who claim that being fat isn't inherently unhealthy. Literally, the mechanics of it, having to lug around a bunch of extra weight is exhausting. It's not fun and hard on your joints. I'm a size 34 double D when I'm in my healthy weight range. I gain any significant weight, and the back pain is a no-go, right? Yeah. I didn't mean you were being dumb. Just that the stereotypes are silly. No, you're right. When I put on weight on birth control and got up to a size 16, I got up to 36F. My back was killing me. It wasn't super positive. No, I guess it wasn't. That's difficult for me to imagine. But I hear tell that it's pretty miserable. Humble brag. A man would say that. Oh. That's funny. But yeah, above a certain weight, I'm in constant pain. So, boo. If you actually tried hauling that kind of weight in that location, you'd find it's nothing to brag about. Right. No, but so all that leaves then is people attempting to rationalize their choices so they don't have to change them. Right? If you want being fat to be made into a good thing, but beyond a certain weight, like it's hard on your joints, your skeleton. You know, only a man would think a crippling condition could be a good thing. They don't get that it's, you know, they don't get it. It's alright. It's one of those things they can not get. How it is to have large breasts, they can go ahead and not get that. I'm fine with that. Well, how would they? Why would they? You know, it's kind of like the menstruation stuff. They don't want to understand it, and I'm fine with that. They don't need to. I mean, it'd be nice if medicine would try a little harder. But individually speaking, your average dude doesn't need to know how periods work. That's fine. Why would he? They need to just maybe take our word for it. Fat can't become a good thing until it stops literally hurting your body. Right, and ultimately killing you. Buried my obese dad after heart failure last September. I'm sorry. I don't hate my body. I make peace with it. But I have a keen awareness I have to keep my body within a certain range to be physically right and able to get around, like you say. Okay, I love going hiking. And I don't do it to stay slim. I stay slim to do it, more like. Yeah, because, man, that's not always easy. You know? And it's easy to put on weight. I mean, how much sugar is in one of these bitches, right? The dude doesn't need to know the pain or the work, but he should never make fun of us for it. Right. I think that was meant as a gentle, good-natured tease. I do. So that's the spirit I'm going to take it in. I didn't think that was a troll. It's a misunderstanding. When I visited Utah, we did some hiking and generally a lot of walking because neither of us drive and she doesn't live in a big city like I do. Well, man, you want to talk about the mechanics of your body and what they're designed for? Walking. And so everyone used to get everywhere, so it's like a great exercise, wouldn't you know it? It would not have been fun to hang out if I couldn't physically do that and feel okay. Right. Right. You limit your options in a big, big way when you limit your mobility. And some people don't have a choice, right? Some people have limited mobility outside of any choice that they made, any action of their own. So, Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna sound corny probably, but I've always felt, so ever since I was like a young person, I have felt, because there's a lot of chronic illness runs in my family. So I was the step and fetch it girl, you know? And I've always felt this responsibility of like, I can move, so I probably should take advantage of that and, you know, go maintain that. Because, you know, to do otherwise would just kind of make me feel like an asshole. It sucks beyond words. I'm sorry, honey. You mind telling us what happened? At the moment, is it temporary? Are you gonna get better? I hope. Oh wow. Oh, baby pictures in an incubator. Oh my god. You're a preemie, huh? Mm. Wednesday something. My god. Yeah, you did barely make it. That's halfway. Mm-hmm. In one hand, I believe it. Shit, I think 24 weeks is when they say viability is. Like at all. Fuck lungs. Who needs them, right? Mm. On the bright side, you probably don't remember any of that, right? How dare I be a healthy adult and decide to throw it in the trash for no reason? Right. 2 pounds, 7 ounces. Wow. Yeah. You know, and I don't even have a dramatic story like that, but I've always felt that way. That I should not take it for granted. This kind of thing, you know. And I fell in the 3rd grade and cracked my back. The 3rd vertebra in my back. I cracked it on the sidewalk. I didn't want to. That. It's the first time I ever had the wind knocked out of me. I thought I was dying. My lungs were actually fully developed and probably enough. Well, that's good. But the part of my brain that reminds me to breathe wasn't. Oh, sweet Lord. Six of one, really, right? Yeah. What good are they if you can't use them? My God. And if I believed in a God, then that would be why I would figure kids don't remember anything. Babies don't remember anything. Some of that stuff is just got to be traumatic. Isn't it amazing how we're all still living and moving, even with it all? Yeah. My Aunt Janie talks about how they'd poke me sometimes to remind me to start breathing again. Oh my God. Oh my God. So tiny. Mm. Yeah, I was listening to a woman she had her tiny baby in a sling in front of her. You know, they were both fine. But she was standing there telling a group of us on a field trip a couple months ago the horror stories of this child's birth and like subsequent surgeries. And I just don't know how both of mine were really low maintenance in that way. I'm a healthy woman that's 5'9". Nice. Nice. You know, I've met a couple other runts to the litter, if you'll forgive me, who ended up like kind of big adults. I don't mean fat, like big people. You know? Like I can put on weight, I will only ever be 5'4". No, I mean like, you know, tall and broad and, you know, dense. Almost as if their body kicked into overdrive while they were growing to sort of make up for it. Is that crazy? I mean, my mom's 5'9". She's like in the 90th percentile in height for women or some shit like that, she's fond of saying. I'm not. So, I did not get that gene. I look like my dad's family. Could be worse. I could have F-size boobs. I have never been called a runt of the litter before. That's hilarious. Yeah, they're so cute, you know, and delicate. Oh my gosh, we had one of those actually. I was taking German at the time, and I named this cat Klein because it means small. He was the runt of the litter. This motherfucker lived for 21 years and was 25 pounds by the time he died. So he was not Klein anymore. They're shorter than on my dad's side of the family. And my mom and grandma are both about my height. And one of my female cousins is 5'11". Nice. Nice. I always wanted to be tall. You always want what you can't have, right? Yeah. I just wanted to be able to reach shit out of the cabinets in the kitchen, mainly. Or anywhere. Strikes me as funny that they build kitchen cabinets to the, you know, convenient height of the average man. And then send us in there. Have a step stool, darling. Yeah. Sure, thanks. That's helpful. I mean, it is, but, you know, they could have just designed it for us in the first fucking place. Klein, is nicht klein. You know, right? And now, unfortunately, deceased. But then, that cat was born in, like, no joke, like 1995 or something. So, you know, the fact that he is deceased now is just not news. You know. Unfortunately, we all only live so long. Heaven forbid the men in my family, that's on my mom's side of the family, are all over 6 foot. It's about to get loud out here because it's raining and I'm sitting underneath an aluminum awning. And I was gonna go I want to go 30 more minutes or so. You know, just to really do the whole 2 hours like we usually do. Because we're having such a good conversation, and you know, this week's topic was really meaty, I thought. You know, and I hate to keep making it about me. Nothing is designed for women. Nothing, right? Like, not even the shit that they insist we have to use. Oh. I mean, frankly, we could make the stove a little shorter, too. I'd be just as happy. If you must run, you may, but the sound is fine. Oh, that's good. Right, so far. Those were just little drops. Like, I don't know if you ever sat underneath a tin roof in the rain, because it sounds like hail. But it's not. I might go see how wet the side patio is, because if it's not going to be hot, we can just sit over there. I don't know. My mom's the outlier, actually. She's the tallest that I know of, by several inches. It must have come from somewhere. And she looks too damn much like her siblings to be like the milkman's kid or something. Like, she looks like her dad, so. I bet we could make a whole stream on stuff that's supposed to be for women but really isn't. Hell yeah. Dude, if I did a list channel, my mom is short. My mom's not short. She's 5'9". Well, she used to be. Before she got old. Apparently age shrinks you. That's gonna be fun. Oh yeah. I was gonna say this earlier. I made a milkman joke before, and the person I said it to was like, eh? Anything less than 6 feet is short. But then you're short too, Red Blaren. Unless you have shoes on. I presume that must be a southern colloquialism everyone doesn't know. Maybe. I mean, the furthest south anyone in my family is from is Kentucky, which I guess counts. You are not 6 feet even. Do not lie. You brought it up, so. 6 feet even in shoes, right? According to a very dense trans woman I met at the Trans Historical Conference last week, hormone replacement therapy also shrinks you. 5 foot 10 inch men be like an inch above average, or so I've heard. No, he's 5'11 3/4. I happen to know, which is literally this much from being 6 foot. it can if the osteoporosis is bad enough. Oh my god! This is what I object to, okay, materially when it comes to this stuff. Like, you wanna, I'll say, oh, actually, I have one I wanna run past y'all before we go. I hope I don't forget. Wouldn't you just round it up to 60? Right, yeah. I'm teasing him because I can. He's a hell of a lot taller than I am, regardless, right? Yeah. I'm not that tall in platform heels. A quarter inch shy. Story of my life. A day late and a dollar short, right? Yeah. Sorry to play top trumps, but I'm 6'1" and the magical 3/4. I'm an inspiration to witness. I will never get any taller no matter how inspiring you are. I haven't gotten any taller since I was 12. Imagine that. So, no inspiration is going to help me, sadly. The joke is when I was trying to join the army, and because of that quarter inch, I was 10 pounds overweight. Oh, that's right. Assholes. Who wants to be in their stupid club anyway? I've been this tall with this chest since I was 15. Adult men were an issue. Yeah, that's when you first get introduced to that terrible, terrible, just pernicious bane of existence called entitlement, right? Where they have these amazingly passionate thoughts, apparently, yeah, and they just feel compelled and entitled to share them with you. Yeah. You learn a lot that way, don't you? Amazingly educational experience. Yeah. Imagine if I had red hair and big boobs. Oh my god. Let's not. Oh. Sounds terrifying. One plus to the height is occasionally being able to surprise. On the ride back home from New York, I was next to a guy, and when we both got here, he was going to help me with my overhead bag. His face when I stood up to the light and reached for it was, yeah. I realized a few years ago that I don't even know what it's like to not be sexualized, like ever. Made me think about how common that probably is for other women. Yeah. It's the internalized male gaze that, like, a lot of us don't even know what that's like in our own company when we're alone. Like, I spotted on that when I was younger too. I could not have articulated it like that. But just the idea that at least when I'm alone, I should probably stop thinking that way. Just for my own sanity. And actually relax, right? But you have to first understand and recognize it as something outside of your own head, outside your own mind. That perspective isn't something organic to you. Which, I had dissociative problems as a teenager, so I don't recommend that as a method. The man in my head thinks I'm hot, so there's that. I sometimes get in the mirror and I'm like, hey there. Yeah, I mentioned this in the video. I'm just straight up bisexual, so. I feel like I'm a pretty decent judge of the way that I look. Yeah. I'm not my own type, though. That helps. I realized a few years ago, I've always had red hair and big boobs since puberty. It's definitely affected me. What up, love lover? Yeah, no, that was my mom and her sister. So I don't really have to imagine. I've heard tell what that's like. I'm bi too. Bicons in the chat. Hell yeah. And that's what I was saying. I wish that I, could have. I had to edit it together and it came out kind of garbled. I wish I could have gone back and re-recorded that bit to make it smoother. But like I said, I've been tripping over my tongue something terrible lately. I blame the heat. But why do people behave as if they are so wounded by someone else not recognizing shit that's irrelevant to that other person? Like, your personal sexuality is not relevant to that person. And they can believe about it whatever the fuck they want, and it is not going to actually materially affect anything that they feel or do, unless you let it. Right? I've met people who do not believe bisexuals exist. And yet, you know, I survived, right? We're raised in a patriarchy, so it would be weird for us not to internalize any of the society in which we live and what its values are. Well, yeah, this is the only language I can use for this, but it's like we're possessed by the spirit of a misogynist. Yeah. We're trained to think like that. Well, you know, and it's... You guys want to go back to the beginning of this conversation. I was talking about Minnie Minuteman, the archaeological guy, and how he made Graham Hancock look like an ass. Well, what he says about Graham Hancock's series, where in every episode he uses this kind of subconscious subliminal message of there's this other group that he doesn't like, and you don't want to be part of that other group. So you might find yourself kind of going along with him just because on a gut level you want to belong to the, you know, the group that are running the show, literally in this case. I don't understand how you cannot believe bi people are a thing. Like, what's there not to believe? Oh, I mean, they said it in Sex and the City, for fuck's sake, about how bisexuality is just a stopover on the way to gay town. Remember? Mm-hmm. They were talking about men, but that's essentially the attitude, is that you're a tourist or an attention getter, you know, that you can't just have found yourself historically attracted to both by turns, you know. Apparently this is a difficult concept for people, which I never really thought about it, but I guess being straight's a weird, I don't know. It's not, because I'm so really very used to thinking that way, you know. It's not like we're unicorns, and if anything, I find it more confusing that there are people that find 100% of a certain sex, right, unappealing. Yeah, right? I don't think there are. I think a lot of them are in denial about that. You know, that conversation, well, there's a nice looking guy. I mean, you know, I can appreciate a nice looking guy. It doesn't make me gay. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. And who's to say just how much you're appreciating that attractive man, you know? You know. Bi women are so often sexually objectified. Yes. Oh my God. To the point where I just started keeping it from people, men. Like dudes I would date, I would just keep it from them because I would tell them that I was bisexual, and what they would hear me saying was threesome time. It's the right side of history argument, which is bull, because the victorious write the history, not the truth seekers. Are you saying truth seekers are never victorious? I hope that's not what you're implying, because I really hope that's not true. Every once in a while we have to win, right? It can't rain all the time, all the damn time. My hot take is that most people are probably bi with like a very strong preference. Right. Yeah, exactly. And you know, good for them. One of my ex-boyfriends proposed a threesome with my ex-girlfriend. I was like, if we still got along well enough to bang, we'd just get back together. And he was like, oh, never mind. Right. Like, I've been told that if I wanted to go and be with a woman, it's not cheating. Like, like it doesn't count. It's like, I don't know. To me, it might. To me, it would. Yeah. But, like, there's a difference between being poly and being bi, right? So, people tend to forget that for some reason. Dunno. I mean, you can be straight and poly. I think that was the original flavor, right? My God, proposing a threesome with your ex. Yeah. Someone made an interesting point to me about that tendency men have to not worry about it. She theorizes because historically women lacked resources. Excuse me. You're right. Well, and like, you're not gonna accidentally get pregnant with your lesbian lover's child that he's gonna get cuckolded raising. Right? Why would your woman leave you for another woman? She most likely lacks property or the ability to take care of you or your kids financially. Right, yeah, historically. Cat Black has talked a lot about polyamory and bi people and dating and such, and she says a lot of straight polyamorous guys have a one dick policy. Right. Yeah. Entitlement. Like, they don't consider it cheating if their girlfriend sleeps with a natal woman, but they do if it's a trans woman. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see if the dick is what you're worried about. For me, the cheating would be more what I'd be worried about. Which is an intimacy thing, right? Like, Cat Black doesn't realize that's people being polite about the fact that they consider trans women men. Right. Yeah. It's one of many. It's a one-man policy. They just aren't saying man because Cat's there. Yep. Oh my gosh. That person had up a video about the Young Turks drama, and I have yet to watch it, but I kind of want to because I bet it's funny. Seems pretty homophobic to basically say female-female relationships don't count. Thank you, right? Not to mention misogynist. Yeah, lady sex isn't real sex, obviously. Where's the penis? Come on. It is disappointing. Oh, that sucks. Is it disappointing because it's super aggravating? Because if so, I'll skip it. It is homophobic to say those relationships don't count, but I really think people undercount how much practical aspects play into it. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, he's not gonna get cuckolded by another woman. Cat Black is smart and has made some good videos in the past, but recently has fallen into woke scold type arguments more than I like. Well, you know, it reminds me of Contra and Jesse Gender. After a while, those guys just don't have anywhere else to go. Like, women do more often wind up with men, and I think resources, even today, factor in a lot. Yeah. Yeah. I can only agree with that assessment. And Cat Black has chosen a lifestyle that makes it impossible to remain in reality. Right, yeah, pretty much. Eventually they have to, or, you know, either stop trying to rationalize it because you reach the limits of that, or they have to take a step back. I've had men straight up offer to let me stay at home, be a stay-at-home wife. I've not had a single woman even vaguely suggest such a thing. True. Hit the like, people, or do you really hate Rad or something? Or are you the woke types who insist on payment for emotional labor? Statistically, it's unlikely to be a financial possibility given the pay gap. He freaks me out, not gonna lie. Yeah. And, like, the hair in the thumbnail is like, wow, okay. Not that I have any room to talk half the time, you know, but I try to tame it down for the videos. I mean, are there any trans women that don't freak you out, or is it specifically Cat? Well, you know, see, they all have a very intense, and you know what, it's not just like Jammy Dodger, that video that I made months ago, responding to a Jammy Dodger video still regularly gets views and comments, and is one of my top searched, you know, that's one of my top search terms. every month, every week, all the time. And I have not revisited that person because they freak me out. Like the intensity just comes right through the screen, and you're like, oh my god, it's kind of terrifying after a while. I just don't want to be given such vivid imagery of that image in his life. I had to stop watching Cat over the poly and sex positive talk. Yeah. I'm really not. See, that one, I've seen a few of Cat's videos, and I believe I responded to one a while back. I don't get intense vibes from Jamie Dodger. He seems chill. Right. Until you remember that's a woman. Like I say, that kind of thing shifts the whole frame to whatever it is, you know, that's being discussed. And, you know, this one was about trans healthcare. And it's like, in this country, people are struggling to get regular health care. And this person is complaining about having difficulty getting their hormone injections. And it's just like, you know, you don't need that. You know, like we were saying about having a perfectly healthy body and throwing that away. Same shit. Makes me really angry after a little while. He's living his life. He seems happy. See, Jamie cares. That's what I'm saying. And if you look at the stuff that Jamie says through that lens, it's the same shit. It's a constant stream of rationalization and trying to, you know, validate this or that decision that they made that they clearly do not feel secure in. Comes across fairly intensely depressed to me. Yeah. I don't care that she's unhappy with her body. I care that she's telling others to take the same path. Right. I care that promoting insecurity and self-hatred. Right. And hiding it effectively, apparently. Effectively enough to do that. Effectively enough to say, look at me and how successful and happy I am with this whole transition thing. And I know part of it's me. Because I just cannot believe that. There's just no way. It's like when somebody eats 2 bites of salad and tells you they're full. No, you're fucking not. No, you're not. That's nonsense. What are you talking about? I remember a bit with Contra, I think, where he was doing a bit about the taste and feel of his lady. Oh my god, yeah. Jamie Dodger's very happy in his body now. Pretty sure I've heard him speaking about that. I disagree. See, and this is just my impression. We're obviously not going to settle this here, right? I just get the impression that, and based on a lot of experiences of my own, which, you know, makes me both have a little bit of authority and be biased at the same time. And I admit that, but like, the amount of denial that is required to, it's just, you know, essentially hypnotize yourself across your eyes far enough that you cannot see the thing that's right in front of you. It doesn't bother me. Wait. Come can say they're happy, then we just refuse to acknowledge that and claim they're secretly miserable, then we clearly don't need evidence for our beliefs. Well, see, I have evidence that they're secretly miserable. Of various kinds. The thing is, I understand that it is not my place to say that. That my opinion, strong as it might be, is irrelevant. And beside the point. And I get that. Saying that someone doesn't seem happy to you is evidence. People's emotions can be very evident to other people. Right. And but it's also, not only is that person going to a lot of effort to attempt to become something they aren't and never will be, they talk about it an awful lot. Okay? Anyone who's actually gone through, you know, a period of difficult personal growth knows that you just, like, you don't talk about it a whole lot with everybody. You know, maybe 1 or 2 close confidants, friends and family members, but like, you don't make fucking videos about it and post them on the internet if you're actually going through something. People can, in fact, lie about their own feelings, and often do, if they have motivation to be deceptive. Your statements on your feelings aren't the only indication of what you're feeling. No, they're not, and that's one of the key problems with psychology. Yes. Sure, but you need to make a strong case for this. All the evidence you brought up for Jamie Dodger being miserable is that he's talking about having sex dysphoria. Your actions also give indications of your feelings. If the topics you discuss indicate your preoccupations, your subconscious body language says things. Also, he has a YouTube channel primarily about trans issues. Of course, see, that's what I'm talking about. Why? Like, like theoretically, this is a feminist channel, and I can't seem to stay on topic for more than a week. You know, I mean, aside from the fact that everything is political to me. You know, we're like, because one can think it's valuable work. See, now we're going to get into the heated debate on whether or not it's valuable work to advise people to pursue that lifestyle. Which, there may be some differing opinions on here in the chat, and I'm going to have to go because it's been 2 hours. So, most people don't have channels entirely about their bodies, and the desire to do so shows a negative preoccupation with. Right, yeah, basically. I think everything, you know, my channel shows my preoccupations too, I guess is what I'm saying. They're just broader and more varied, I think, than that, you know. I do think you're right on the trans thing, but I, for one, love your other feminist videos. We need more moms talking about feminism. Thank you, right? The two are completely and utterly irrelevant to one another. Thank you for that encouragement, seriously, because I want to do more of those, but like the trans stuff is hot right now and refuses to go away. Christians define masturbation or homosexual sex as self-harm. Yeah, true. Thank goodness they're not in charge of much, right? I don't know if we want to start just redefining people's emotions for them. That's what I'm saying. Is that I have my opinion, but it is not relevant to Jamie Dodger's fucking life. Unless they decide to make it so. And I get that. I'm gonna have it anyway, you know, because I'm an opinionated, stubborn bitch, but... Or try to drag my viewers into listening to it. I've posted on mine in months, mostly because I've been preoccupied with other things in politics, and I haven't decided I definitely want to make a channel or anything else. Or try to drag my viewers into listening to anything else. Why do you get to make claims about other people's emotions and be correct, but the Christians don't? Why are you right but they're wrong? I don't think saying how someone comes across to you is redefining their emotions. Right, and that's all I am trying to do. You don't come across as happy to me is not the same as saying, I feel you have definite evidence you're wrong about your feelings. Right. I suspect that person is in denial. I have what I feel is pretty strong evidence to suspect this. That's about as far as it goes. Your arguments are silly, but I'll stop it now. This is a nice chat place. Fair point. But oftentimes, this framing of other people's emotions is used in arguments. Yeah. You know, I think that's part of what they were trying to say about kids. Like, that might have been the one legitimate argument buried in that stupid wisecrack video that I dissected last night. Was, or the other night, whatever, today, whatever, is that, yeah, like, kids are treated this way all the time, right? And they have other people's feelings projected onto them when they're not, you know, in the third person, without their knowledge or consent or presence even, you know. They want policies to change based on these alleged feelings so they become politically relevant. This kind of rhetoric affects our lives in a material way. People who testify before government panels regulating cross-sex medicalization, like Matt Walsh or Janice Raymond, use as part of their argumentation that transition people are never really happy. That's bad argumentation because you could never prove that. That wisecrack video, I about lost my mind. Caring for children's safety is a moral panic. Like, oh, okay, please stay away from children, right? That Professor Robinson lady needs to stay the hell away from kids. I'm gonna dig a little more into her. Some of the shit she says is just so weird. suburbs, yay. But yeah, you know, like kids are projected onto all the time and turned, you know, objectified in political conversations all the time. And that's a legitimate point that maybe we ought to explore. Uh, you know, bringing them into the room with us is not the answer. The liberals being like, what about the children as a conservative dog whistle is really giving credence to people like Walsh. Yeah. Yeah. This is the part where I get to bring up my favorite theory. I want to call it a conspiracy theory. It's kind of my own work, kind of. It's a theory. It's a pet theory of mine. There is no left. There isn't. There hasn't been for decades, probably. They were hollowed out by moles a long time ago. Okay, that's why the left does all this fucking stupid self-immolation style shit that just sends people running to the conservatives. It's gotten pretty bad to the point where it's like so fucking obvious. And it's been going on long enough that a lot of people who think they're lefties, they want to be lefties. They just don't know how. If you say that wanting kids to be safe is a conservative thing, and you're not conservative, then what are you trying to say? Right. Right. Yeah, but sometimes when they're talking about protecting kids, they mean protecting kids from being told that being in gay relationships. Right, yeah, but like who? And can we talk about that? Like, that would be stupid. Let's talk about that. The thing is, like, in this country, hi, kitty, we had this conversation while I was growing up. You know, Jimmy has 2 dads. We had this conversation, and we ended up legalizing gay marriage not even a decade ago. Okay? This has been litigated, and we're done. Being gay is okay. We've already decided this. So if somebody wants to argue the opposite of that, that makes them, you know, sorry, what am I going to say? Jamie wants to use her alleged happiness and radical body modification justification for giving kids dangerous hormones and surgery. Right. Right. That's the thing that gets objected to, really. She also seems to think her imaginary visualization of herself as a man is a thing that we excuse me, people who are not her should care enough about to go to jail over not caring. Yeah. The dogma of many religions is homosexuality is a sin. So I don't think you can respect freedom or hold religious beliefs while saying they need to stop believing that specific thing. Freedom to hold religious beliefs. No. They are allowed to... Okay. It goes back to what I was saying about Jamie and my opinion of that person. It doesn't matter how well-founded I think that opinion is. It's not relevant to their life. Okay? If you, whoever the hell you are, think that being gay is a sin, you don't get to go over there and tell the gay people about it. You can feel however the fuck you want and worship whatever the fuck you want, but you do not get to impose that on other people, is the thing. That's the distinction. Okay, because we decided that. We're not going to come and make you be gay. It doesn't happen. But you don't get to make people not be. Okay? It gets allowed. It's not about religious people not believing that. It's about whether it's dangerous for children to be told. Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's not. Like, it's been demonstrated. Like, statistics, numbers. Sometimes we have to fall back on numbers. Science, okay? Like, call my generation the guinea pig generation. We're all right. That's not what fucked us up anyway. It's a religious belief that it's dangerous to kids to tell them it's okay to be gay because you're telling them it's okay to send themselves to hell. Right. According to Matt Walsh, you're grooming your students and sexualizing them. I'm not homophobic, and I talk to my preschool students about how gay people exist all the time. Now am I allowed to worry about their safety? I don't know. That's a good question. According to Matt Walsh, you're grooming your students. Gotcha. And sexualizing them, yeah. Matt Walsh is a dick. Why should I care what he thinks? That's pretty much my point. We don't have to respect all views equally. We don't. Some of them have evidence. Those are the ones that we should prioritize. When it comes to public policy, you in your heart, in your life, can believe and enact whatever you want, as long as, you don't infringe on other people's right to do the same. My boyfriend had to take sociology, and they were on the gender section. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. They state that being gay is just a social construct like gender. Oh, that was the point I wanted to run past y'all, and then I gotta go, because, like, seriously, it's been an hour and a half, or 130 minutes. So, homosexuality, as we understand it today, is also a social construct. I mean, arguably. How do we know that it wasn't the Romans who had the social construct? And the Greeks? Okay, we don't. People always bring this up, and it's like the Greeks were more close to whatever nature would dictate because they were old, because they're further in the past. But I thought that, progress of civilization is supposed to be a search for greater truth and, functionality. So, I don't see how that follows. And yes, gender, as distinct from sex, is a concept used in social sciences. Yeah. I think in public policy, we should prioritize freedom for all people from imposition to their other people's beliefs. Homosexuality was around before ancient Rome. No, right, yeah, I know. But they're the ones who are famous for they famously had different attitudes regarding it to what we have now. And people often bring that up as an example of how homosexuality as we know it is a social construct. And I'm just not sure that's true. That's all. What we have going on would seem to be simpler to me. There's the pair bonding impulse. And some people want an opposite sex partner, and some people want a same sex partner. It's very simple in that regard. It's a whole lot more simple than, dominant versus submissive versus, whatever the hell it was the Greeks had the little boys for. I don't know. There's something I check out of every time it comes up anywhere. I feel like I should know what that's about, and I don't, because I don't want to. I don't want to know that. The concept of men of similar age being in egalitarian and voluntary relationships is, as far as I'm aware, new. Ancient Greece and Rome more so practiced pederasty, right, and sexual slavery of young men. I wouldn't say that situation involved being what we in a modern sense consider to be gay. Right, no, yeah. It's homosexual activity, though, right? That would be a form of homosexuality, right? I mean, just by definition, we do have definitions, right? The example was boys in one culture had to... yeah. Unless they're doing it at 20. No, oh my god. Yeah, but so, I don't know of any evidence why the classical, if you'll forgive the term, model for homosexual behavior is any more natural than what we got going on. I see no evidence for that. Other than it's older. The ancient Greeks terrorized women with penis statues, for fuck's sake. There's an amazing story of them all being found broken one morning. That's great. If you think laws should be based on things that can be proven to everyone, why do you support transition healthcare? When did they prove gender identity as a belief system? But there's another question as to whether you can map the more modern political concept of sexual identity onto that. Right. And it doesn't matter anyway. All right. Like, I have my backup video for this week is literally like 3 minutes of a David Pakman episode where he has a caller call in and be like, why can't those dumb conservatives tell the difference between sex and gender? I don't know. Maybe because they erased it in federal law? Okay? These people who are harboring, who love to rely on this idea that, oh, I'm a woman because woman is a social role. Not according to federal fucking law, it isn't. Because y'all had to roll gender identity in there, which makes sex a meaningless fucking term. I think only in a society like the one we have, where people can live independently as adults without needing a large family to subsistence farm, to even have such lifestyles, yeah. But, this is where we find ourselves. 2 men in Bible days would starve to death since they couldn't have a ton of kids to run the farm. Well, I mean, hopefully they live in a community. Maybe there's a market. Not everyone farmed their own stuff. Even back in the Bronze Age. Come on. Come on. Your community was not just your cousins. A lot of times it was, extended family groups and like combinations of extended family groups. And, you're talking a tribe of 30 to 80 people. Like, they're not all your cousins. Trans healthcare doesn't usually impact people beyond the individual themselves. You yourself don't need to do anything just because Jamie Dodger had a hysterectomy. No, but it sets a bad precedent for, the usage of medical funds, for one thing. Which, man, it always comes back to capitalism, doesn't it? So, like, my sister tried to get a hysterectomy for years. She didn't want kids, and her periods were apparently dreadful, horribly painful, life-altering events, okay? And they wouldn't give it to her because she was too young. She might change her mind. The question is, should doctors be allowed to give unnecessarily and harmful medical procedures to mentally unstable people? That affects me, yeah. We can't prove whether someone sincerely identifies as whatever. Then maybe we shouldn't base any surgical decisions on it. Use public funds for that. What, maybe, like I say, if they are so completely sure that my sister, who just wanted the troublesome organ removed, she wasn't, and it wasn't an identity thing, it was a well-being thing. They were just so concerned that she might change her mind. But yeah, if you think you're a man, you're definitely not going to go back on that. Those policy positions aren't directly related to cross-sex medicalization. It's a question of whether it's harmful. I don't dispute that sometimes cross-sex medicalization is harmful. Whether Bill is taking the piss or doesn't get it. Either is possible. Around here, we have both. We have all types. But like, I think maybe just they're not getting it really. I've tried to get a hysterectomy forever, and for the same reason they refused. Right. So if you claim to be a man, all of a sudden you can get this same health care. Weird. So yeah, it affects people. It does. At the risk of sounding glib and sarcastic, we live in a society. Healthcare precedents and funding affect everybody. And certainly there are kinks with cross-sex hormones like any medication. Yeah. Some of the stuff I've heard about I would call more than a kink. Right, yeah. And I don't expect you to. I'm not trying to commit. Like, y'all, come on. See, this is where we end up with arguments. We're trying to be welcoming to anyone who wants to come in here and earnestly talk. And, participate in the chat and have a good time. And be cool. All right? We're not trying to be militant and convince people to change. I love the existence of the trans people should be stopping all these doctors in their tracks. I think the existence of detrans people should be stopping all these doctors in their tracks. We should be questioning the entire premise. Right. And we're not. What does that tell you? Not only are they not doing that, they're burying these people. Call yourself what you want. The rest of us are here to just do. Nobody's trying to convince you that cross-sex hormones are inherently harmful. At the moment, we're trying to convince you that your actions and desired policies affect other people. Yeah. But again, like, trying to convince anyone of anything is really not what this is about. Okay? We're looking for points of commonality. Okay? There are going to have to be things that we agree to disagree about. This other stuff is more urgent. Okay? I don't think you know what actions I take or which policies I advocate for. Rad Mom can confirm I don't agree with things like legal self-ID. Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking. Trying to convince is a pretty intense framing. Yeah. But so, if somebody feels pressure, we'll back off. Because there's no pressure. That's not what we're doing. Even covertly. Okay? But these conversations can get intense sometimes. So maybe that's just a clue. It might be a good time to come up for some air anyway. I get an idea of what you're advocating for if you're, advocating right now. Great, agreed. Okay, right. And I just, I don't know. I'm one of those people, like, I have trouble holding on to, like, my own perspective sometimes, because I, like, just, I don't know. It's empathy. Lots of it, I guess. To the point where sometimes, like, I'll forget what I was doing to begin with. It's fun. Huh. But it does give me an advantage in this situation, whereas, and I just really hate that, the tendency for things to get intense and people sort of polarize and, I really hate that. I'm worse than dog with a bone. I reread my diary from senior year of high school last year and laughed out loud how similar I am. Yeah. I get that. I do. And that's my problem. No, I actually sympathize with that one. I do that one myself. Why do you think I have a YouTube channel? You should make one. You think you'd probably enjoy it. How dare I not have more evolution as a person? As long as you're not exactly the same. That frightens me. I hear somebody say that every now and again, that they're exactly the same as they were as a teenager, and I'm like, really? You haven't learned anything in 20 years or whatever? Like, anything significant to change your outlook in any way? That's probably not a good thing, right? You being you, well, I think we're all guilty of that. There's a certain level of temperament stuff, like, just never changes. I'm not exactly the same. One major difference is I care way less about other people's... Right, see, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. That's what we call a healthy change. Actually being in charge of your own shit, right? Like, I have pages written in there about strong feelings about other people's dumb... Right. Well, and I think that's, like, kind of an unconscious reliance on others, for that you wouldn't want to admit you had, right? A reliance on seeking the approval of others to a degree that you would not have wanted to admit yourself that you had. And then as you get older, you lose that. Because, you discover things to base your own judgments on. Like teenage me could go on for 5 pages about something some person said in trig. Yeah, right, same. Not trying to fight, but I have a lot of feelings on this topic, and so I'm tiring of being told I'm conservative all the time for not believing the current limit rate. I live in rural Tennessee. No one notices around here. But yeah, so in undergrad I took a module on gender theories and realities. 1 week we had to write an essay on the sex-gender distinction. I reread it recently and it's weird. Yeah. Well, you won't be told that here. Because I wrote that essay before peaking, but a lot of what I said back then is very similar to what I'd say now. Just seen through a different lens, right? It's interesting how stuff can change meaning that way. A lot of feelings, see, and being told you're conservative all the time, like, I grew up in East Tennessee. Really? What's up, baby? What up? Kenny, what? I reread an essay I wrote for philosophy of the mind my sophomore year at university on zombies recently, and it was hilarious how pissed I was. I know many conservatives. I even love a lot of them, but I am not that. Grateful, so that's one of the reasons that you know that. You know what you're talking about when you say that you're not a conservative. Yeah. I dig that. But so, what is that? What does that accomplish for the left, though? These ideological purity tests only ever have one outcome. And that's a smaller, more insular, more extreme group as time goes by. That's all that ever happens. They get smaller and smaller and smaller and tighter and tighter. This is, I mean, basic shit. Is it not? Is it not? Near Knoxville. Right on. We're about 45 minutes out from there. I literally wrote several paragraphs outlining why it wasn't a relevant topic philosophically before getting to my actual answer. Oh my God. My son wrote an essay for his English teacher this past year that was so bad she thought he'd stolen it from an AI. And yeah, it was basically just him jerking the reader around because he didn't want to write the fucking essay. And I was like, you can do better than this. You know better than this. Rewrite the damn thing. What the fuck? Kids, man. Teenagers. Young adults. In this utterly pointless essay, I will argue, right? I got swine flu that year, and it progressed to the point I had pneumonia and was coughing up blood. I think I just could not, with such silliness, while literally dying. Yep. Real talk, it was so like... See, horrible sickness is something everyone shares. Yay! Oh my God, though, I think this is a good time to cut it off because we're not knee deep in anything really serious. Like, I got to go, y'all. I have so much stuff to do. And I don't want to do any of it. I want to go to the grocery. Can I send F for your son, right? Yeah. His English teacher was very upset and sent me an email and everything. And I made him rewrite it. Love when we hear your kids off screen, by the way. Yeah, one of them is adorable. The other one is a monster. He's 15. Gonna be 16 this winter. And well, there's a difference between 5 and 15, right? Oh my gosh. I've heard that actually, that the program's designed to catch ChatGPT essays often have false positives. It was just word salad is what it was. It was very, very, very bad. This is why I teach preschool, not high school. Which, like, is kind of scary, yeah? So I can say with proof that even at 19, I was not having it with this my body is not my mind nonsense. You got one or both. They're one of both, and they're the same damn thing. We have no way to conclusively prove whether something was written by an AI or not. Oh yeah, I guess that is why that's scary. Well, you know, they built the international, trade system and then invented thermonuclear bombs. Now we have the internet, and they've invented that shit, which might have similar effects as far as the level of devastation goes. That's because AI is all written by people. It's literally just a plagiarism machine. And thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. We don't need that shit. We don't need that shit. Yeah. Finding natural intelligence is difficult enough. Am I right? It searches through its database of stuff written by real people who didn't consent to add it, and then picks out bits it puts together based on certain rules and criteria. Right. And it learns in that it can adjust these criteria based on its experiences, right? Yeah, I've known some programmers. It's not actually conscious. Like, I get that. Convincing people that it is almost troublesome enough. Anyways, also men's latest idea of a man baby. A man-made baby. Like, it's not gonna happen. Stop it. You know, their womb envy is so terrible, and they're never gonna get past it until they admit they have it. Aren't they? It's learning. It's not learning in any meaningful way. No, right. It's not really conscious. Not remotely. But, say that it's learning when really what it's doing is just adjusting as programmed to people being dissatisfied with the output is stretching out. Yeah, but you know, so is calling it intelligence. Yeah. That stretches right there in the name, right off the bat. That's like saying I made AI on my graphing calculator in BASIC when I taught it to give different responses depending on how you answered questions. Nerd alert. Wow, that's impressive. Our RPG video games AI, they give you different answers and endings depending on what you pick too. Yeah, I guess by that definition they would be. That's funny. Again, I think it's mostly hype. But why in the hell is it hyping that kind of thing? What's the big deal? Why that? It's amazing to me that so many women can see AI for the machine that it is, and that so many men think it's a living creature of some sort. So stupid. My umbrella just fell over again. Did you guys hear that story about the U.S. Department of Defense ordering an AI bot to make money, and it knew it had to lie to any human collaborators that it was a bot? Terrifying. Well, again, you can program them to do literally whatever you want. Yeah, it's like if you were programmed to jump off a bridge, would you do it? I'll have to check my program. Yep. These nerds that like creativity find the idea of plagiarizing and stealing valor from artists and writers appealing. Ouch! That's so true! Damn. It's dangerous shit, too. I'm sure it knew that the same way Persona 5 knew not to let me leave school and join the circus. Yeah. Seriously, y'all making this so hard. Stop being so interesting. I have got to go. But thank you all so much for making this so worth it. Okay? Really. You know, maybe share that video around if you think about it, because I'm not sure this one's gonna get the push from the algorithm, because children and wisecrack, you know, but I had to do it. Alas, we'll let you feed your children. It was really fun getting to hang out. Yes, it was. Thank you. And I hope to see everybody next week. Saturday is the day. Okay? I see we missed Mary entirely, and I guess she was commenting on a couple of things yesterday. I think maybe she forgot that we're on Saturdays now. Okay, cool. And I'll try and remember to put a community post up on Thursday or something to remind everybody. There's no single female gamers here. Y'all have a good week. Love you. See you later. Bye.